Hey guys, wanted to go ahead and do a review of the TANGZU Wan'er 2 Red Lion and to go from there. I got a crap ton of requests for me to review this, and my apologies for taking a long time to review this. I just didn't want to review it because of two reasons. Reason number one was that basically it seemed redundant because I already have the Emerald Dragon and I already have the Swan NV, and then I already have the Studio Edition. So to me, it's just kind of like, why am I getting more of the same thing? But the good news is, this actually did surprise me. The second reason I didn't want to get this is because, it looked pretty ugly in pictures. It still looks ugly in person, but it's not as ugly as I thought it would be. And third of all, while it does come with a lot of ear tips and accessories, I already have them already. So I was like, I just don't like redundancy in general. Okay, so that being said, let's get right into it. The first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and put some notes on the screen. Please note that the notes are really different from the video, so you might want to check it out. Okay, so that being said, what I now want to do is to talk about the IM and to go from there. So if I had to describe the sound of this, how would I describe it? This is basically a V-shaped, warm tilted IM with pretty good vocals and pretty thumping bass. And it surprised me because this isn't what I thought it was going to be. What I thought it was going to be, honestly, I thought it was going to be like the TANGZU Wan'er 2, Emerald Dragon, with just a crap ton of bass and like shitty mids. But it's not. Actually, this is better than the Emerald Dragon. This is actually, now that I'm actually listening to it more, it's actually, you know what this is? This is actually the TANGZU Wan'er Studio Edition vocals. It has the vocals of this, but with just more bass. But because, in my opinion, when I cross-check these two, this has better vocals than the Emerald Dragon. So, and basically this has, give or take, about as good vocals as this, but with just more bass. Now, there are some nuances, and I kind of want to talk about this. So, it's not something that you can tell right away. You can only tell this by buying a different set of ear tips. So, the reason I say that is, so the ear tips that you actually get in the box, you're going to get the TANGZU Wan'er wide bore ear tips. And this is just more of a personal, subjective opinion, but I don't think the wide bore Tang Sancai ones they're not my favorite. What I actually like instead, and they look similar, but they're not the same, is the Tang Sancai balance bore. See, that's balance bore, and that's wide bore. I don't know if you guys can really see that. Let me just bring it up in person, but they are quite different. This is too aggressive, I feel like, and opens up too much, whereas the balance bore, I feel like, is just right. And unfortunately, this set doesn't come with the balance bore. It comes with the wide bore. And historically, from many, many times I've tested with so many ear tips, I don't like the wide bore. In fact, I decluttered them. Like, I don't have them in my primary set because they're just not as good, in my opinion. I wish these were balance bore that came with the set, but beggars can't be choosers. In tandem with that, what they also give you are the HE Sonic ear tips. Now, HE Sonic ear tips are actually quite good. They're very good, I would say, wide bore ear tips. My only issue with HE Sonic ear tips is that they don't quite fit on some of these nozzles. And so you really got to struggle to put them in, and it's too bad. I wish they had HE Sonic where it was just a little bit wider so it could go into larger nozzles, because I found I couldn't even get the medium ones on here. Only the large ones would fit on here, and that's unfortunate, right? So there's I could only get this one to fit, but I couldn't get this one to fit. Like, it's, even when I try right now, it's really kind of hard to fit on there. So that's just something to note, is that, but I think there's actually something more important than each of these things. These ear tips, you should absolutely keep them, but these ear tips don't work with they don't really work really well with this IM, which is ironic, because if this IM is more warm tilted, you would think that something that brightens it up would be better, but it actually isn't. And it's because what I noticed is when you would use these ear tips or this ear tips, it would thin the vocals. And I was confused for like a little bit. And I wrote this in the notes. The interesting thing is when you actually use the HE Sonics, okay, well, first of all, when you look at the graphs show that this actually has more sub bass than the Swan and V. But when I would listen to it, I'm like, they almost sound the same. But that's because I was using HE Sonics. When I later swapped to KBear 7 ear tips, and I have a whole bunch of KBear 7 ear tips that I bought, then I started to notice that this had more bass than the Swan and V. The other thing too is, at first, I thought that the Studio Edition had better vocals in this because it was fuller. But then it was later on I realized, no, it can't be. Because my TANGZU Wan'er Studio Edition has KBear 7 ear tips. And so what happens if I swap to KBear 7? And sure enough, I'm like, oh my God, yeah, they're the same. Like pretty much. So the point I'm trying to tell you is that these ear tips you get with it, they are good ear tips, but they're meant for other IMs. I would not recommend it with this. And instead, what I recommend you get is the KBear 7 ear tips. They actually come in a multi-pack, and then just try all the different colors, sizes. For me, medium plus sky blue worked best for me, and this brought out the most for me, but you might find that other sizes might work best for you. Okay, so yeah, let's go ahead and talk about the sound. The bass on here, I would actually rank this a grade of A. I thought the bass was really well done. I have no complaints. That being said, I'm not as picky and fussy with bass. You'll notice, even with the music I listen to, bass is not my primary sort of thing I look at, but I definitely hate hexa bass. So this is definitely not hexa kind of bass. This is like good bass. So I would definitely give this a grade of A. The sub bass on here, as in like kind of what's in the background, sub bass here, I would say it's between above correct and Beats by Dre. If you use HE Sonics, it sounded above correct. And if you use KBear 7s, it's going to be more Beats by Dre. The other thing I want to say is vocals. Okay, so there's female vocals and male vocals. So for female vocals, I would rank it a grade of B. It was good. At no point did I ever think these sounded great. They sound good. And kind of par for the course, I just always felt like it's not, to me, people say that I shill this IM a lot, but, I got to be honest with you. This has amazing vocals. And if you look at every single review, whether or not they like this IM or not, they all say the same thing. They're like, this has spectacular vocals. This is fucking spectacular vocals. This is more good, right? So in general, I would say female vocals here is good. It's not great. And in fact, when you look at my notes, I kept saying, it sounds good. Sounds good, but it doesn't sound great. But then on the other hand, it is a $20 IM, but I don't care. I don't factor that in. My grading score is is it good or great? Or is it bad? Or is it average? I don't care how much of it is. Male vocals. Male vocals are here. I would say it's a grading of A. I thought it was actually genuinely fucking great. It has really, really great male vocals on here. Male vocals, they kind of sound a little bit lower pitched, warm, and full. And I actually confirmed this by I would look at, when I was watching a bunch of tracks, male vocals, they all sounded kind of really, really good. This is really great with male vocals. I'd give it a ranking of A. What I also did was actually wore the IM, and then I spoke into a neutral microphone to see what does it do to my voice when I hear my voice back. And sure enough, my voice sounds warmer, fuller, and deeper. So that's what it's doing to guy vocals. Okay, instrument harshness. So instrument harshness is a new category I'm adding. But basically, and the thing is, I always had it before, but I never actually made a category for it. Anyway, so when I tested the Luna song, which is basically really harsh instruments, on this, it was actually pretty good. It was handling it pretty well. I found I had to drop the volume just a smidge sometimes, but aside from that, it handled it just fine. So it's quite smooth, even with harsh instruments. The other thing I want to talk about is the soundstage. So the soundstage on here to me was very average. I didn't think it sounded great or good. It was just it sounded very average to me. And at times it sounded bad. But I find that sometimes is the case with kind of warmer tilted IMs. They feel smaller, and brighter tilted IMs, they have the illusion of feeling larger. There are exceptions though. Vocal sibilance on here. Now, when I say vocal sibilance, that means harshness with voices, especially S sounds or TS sounds, things like that. And I'll play a montage and you'll know what it is.
Found in Season 7, Episode 6 of Seinfeld. I gotta go somewhere, so can we make this quick?
So vocal sibilance on here is excellent. Basically, I found that no matter how many harsh tracks I would play on here, it was pretty much just like you wouldn't get any sibilance with vocal sibilance. So overall, this is actually a really good IM. You know, especially at the $20 price point, I actually think this is actually probably one of the best ones out there. At the $20 price point. And it's not just the accessories that make it good. I genuinely think the vocals are actually, like, if I had to make it, like, okay, let me give you some comparisons. Like, this is, so I would say for male vocals, like, I would say the KBear's Bell has good male vocals. This has good male vocals too, but this is better than KBear's Bell because it does everything else better. This has better bass. This doesn't feel as muddy, but the female vocals are done well here. This is better, obviously, than the Wan'er 2 because it has better vocals in general. This is better than SoundZero V1, SoundZero V2, better than Chew 2, better than every damn $20 IM I could think of. Like, this is actually pretty damn good for the money. And because if you know, I didn't want to buy this IM. Like, you could tell, like, I was resisting for a long time. But the point I want to say is this isn't a redundant IM. This is actually surprisingly something that it kind of grasps like how it sounds, but it kind of doesn't. You know, because initially I thought it was literally just this with more bass, but actually in truth, it's actually closer to Wan'er Studio Edition with more bass. It has the good vocals of this with bass. So yeah, overall, this is great IM, and I think it's actually worth your money. And so yeah, that's all I got to say. You guys have a great day. Goodbye.